Ahoy! Ryan Foland here at the Office of the Vice Provost for Teaching and Learning at the University of California, Irvine. I'm the Communications Manager for the OVPTL team, and we have a special guest here, Mr. Michael Dennin.
Hello, so I'm Michael Dennin. I am the Vice Provost for Teaching and Learning, Dean of the Division of Undergraduate Education here at UC Irvine. And it's great to be here to chat with all of you, chat with Ryan, about what's happening for us to get ready for spring quarter and beyond.
All right, so pop quiz.
Yes.
First question is, can you tell us what does it mean to go to school remotely?
It's a great question because I think it's causing a lot of stress and a lot of confusion for students. The number one way to think about it is just imagine your class is now happening the way it normally would, but you're going to see the faculty member, your instructor, and your fellow students through the computer. So from the faculty side, we've been telling faculty, look, you're just going to lecture, run your class as normal, but you're going to do it at the computer, and then the students will get it. So there's one level removed. There's going to be lectures, there's going to be discussions, all the normal things the students expect. What they're really going to have to focus on, though, is there's not that human guilt to show up for class that you might normally have. And we've learned in studying this over the years, we know that one of the most important things for students is to have a regular schedule. So a lot of the classes are going to require the students to really be conscious of making themselves that schedule and sticking to it. Because in remote teaching, there's two big buzzwords. We call them synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous means at the same time. So the faculty member will do their normal thing. If your lecture is Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 1, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 1, the lecture will be happening and you can join by Zoom. Other faculty will do asynchronous, means you get to watch it when you want. I'm going to record my lecture, I'm going to post it, and you better have a schedule or you're going to be in trouble. So that's the key there to remote. From the student's perspective, it'll be pretty straightforward, and we'll get into some of the tools and tips that they can do later in the conversation. But that's really it in a nutshell. And so the other piece is we've got like 30,000 undergrads, a few thousand faculty, a lot of classes, a lot of people doing this for the first time.
So can we expect some mistakes as well?
I think that's it. So I'll just talk to you all now directly. There will be mistakes. Things won't happen smoothly. And I really, really encourage students to really understand the faculty are not out here to get you. It's not a trick. I think often students with technology, when it's new, they panic that they're going to be held accountable in unreasonable ways. We're all in this together. The faculty are going to be experiencing new things. There will be glitches. Of course, there are going to be deadlines and due dates because that's the only way to run this in a rational fashion. But we're all going to be a bit more flexible because we have to be, because we're all dealing with technology together. So be patient. Use your other students. They're going to be a great resource. Often when something goes wrong, the quickest way to fix it is to find out from your friends what they're doing. The faculty will have a lot on their plate. They'll get to you as fast as they can. But people do sleep, and we sleep at different times. So if you don't get an email right away or a response right away, maybe the person on the other side is actually busy doing something, and they will get back to you. So let's have a lot of patience with each other, a lot of flexibility, and a lot of creativity, the way anteaters are known for.
And you have a TEDx talk out there about how it's more important to succeed than to win.
Yes.
So if you haven't watched that out there, definitely check this out, because this is a chance for us to succeed and not worry about winning every single time.
Very true, very true. Thank you, Ryan.
Now let's talk about the ways that students can connect with their peers, whether it's for study groups or discussions. What type of technology is the campus supporting or referring people to? We've heard everything from Zoom to Google Chat. Where are we at with that?
So for this case, Zoom is your most reliable bet from the perspective that the campus now has a campus-wide license, and every student, faculty, staff, instructor can have access to what's called ProZoom, which gives you sort of an unlimited amount of time and up to 300 people to be in a Zoom room together, chat, interact in a very very fruitful and good way. I've done a lot of Zoom meetings. It works well. So from that perspective, it's the best choice just because everybody has it. Most discussions in class will be run through Zoom. Most things that are synchronous. Faculty, we're trying to keep it simple for faculty and students. 3 basic tools: Zoom for the live interactions, Uja for recorded interactions, because both of these integrate with our learning management system, Canvas. And then Canvas, if there's more stuff that the class needs, Canvas can cover it. That being said, if the students, for their own sake, have already done things like Google Hangouts or chats or various things, or FaceTime. For your own study groups, use what you're comfortable with. If you and your students are comfortable using FaceTime, I might watch my kids and they study together with their friends in FaceTime. Okay, use that, use what you have available. But kind of to know what you can rely on. And we've created a site for the students to go to, a Learn Everywhere site. That email's gone out to all students with the link. We'll send it again. And there will be the tips and tricks for using the different tools we have available.
Gotcha. One of my favorite tips about Zoom, and you might or might not know, this will be good for you. Do you know you can put a custom background on there?
Very exciting. I did not know that. I just knew I could fade the background so people can't see where I'm actually at.
And that's going to be a challenge because students are maybe in places where there's a lot of things in the background, but you can actually create a custom background image so you can be in space, you can be on Mars, you can be in different places. So I think adopting this technology and personalizing it and finding what works for the student is what I hear works.
No, that's good. That's very true. I think that's going to be important.
Now, let's talk about if students don't have the technology, because in order to partake on this online learning environment, you have to be equipped. So what do we do if we're a student and we're not equipped?
Right. From a technology point of view, one thing we're trying to do is make sure you can do as much as possible simply from a smartphone. Okay. We find the smartphone is the technology the vast majority of students have. So the more we can make sure you can do your class from the smartphone, the better off we are. Even something like Zoom, as a last step measure, you can call into a Zoom conference. And then if the faculty member, which we're asking them all to record all Zoom interactions, if they're recording it, you can get the visuals later by some other means if you need to. Second, having a laptop, computer, iPad, tablet really helps a lot in this venue because that's where you really get the visual. It's a bigger screen, you have more access. We recognize not all students have this, so we are getting a laptop loan program for our students who need one. Obviously, the rest of the world is trying to do this too. We expect to have them Thursday-ish. Okay. There will be surveys going out and communications around this. I know some students are leaving a little early from finals. If you are a student and you see this and you know you're going to need a laptop and you can hang out just a little longer during finals week, that will help because we will have them by the end of the week for delivery. So those are, on the physical tech side, the two big ones. I think the biggest challenge for all of us is internet access, if you don't have it. And what I really am pleased to see, more and more internet providers are going free for at least 2 months, if not longer. That's going to be a huge thing for students. We're going to try and get communication out about the ones we know, but they should watch for that in their local area because that's the big win. If you have internet, almost everything else sort of follows from there. Right. If you don't, and you live at all within driving distance of campus, we're also trying to figure out how to have the campus available with appropriate social distancing. So we're not violating the gathering of large numbers of people, but that there are appropriate spaces for students just to be on campus and access our Wi-Fi. Worst case scenario, even access our tech. If we haven't been able to get them a laptop, we'll have the computer labs, the library. We're pretty sure we can keep those low density enough that they work from any social distancing. We've got 2 weeks, a week and a half, 2 weeks to get ready for that. That's another solution we're exploring. And we will keep students informed with messaging. As with everything, this is a rapidly changing situation. Information can change at any moment, but know that that's one of our top priorities, getting our students the tech they need.
And if you're connected online, then you can get that up-to-date information.
Yeah, and while they're here, they're connected. So.
Well, let's talk about the students that want to connect with faculty-led research or things such as projects they have for UROP, the Undergraduate Research Opportunities Program, or even a faculty-led 199 class. Can those be done through Zoom and Canva? How do we navigate that?
Right, that's probably our biggest challenge right now, not just for the students who want to do this as undergrads, but for our own research as well as faculty, right? Probably, we're looking at for the next couple of weeks some serious shutting down of labs, except for critical resources, just because of the immediate situation we're in. I think the number one thing for students who are doing any individual research, you're going to follow the guidelines of research in general for that lab. So if you're local, that's what you're going to be looking at. Your faculty member will communicate those. If you need to go home, we are going to accommodate as best we can. I think many students panic because they see their research in their 199 as something they need to do for the next step, whether it's a job, whether it's a grad school, whether it's medical school.
And it's part of their plan.
And it's part of their plan. The reality is the whole world is doing this now. So if your 199 or research has to be adjusted, you're not going to be, at a disadvantage to other people. This is going to be fine. And yes, there are a lot of things. A large fraction of research is the literature work. It's the background. It's the theory. So for many students, there will be stuff they can still be working on, even if they can't be physically in the lab. But that's really unique to each field, and they're just going to have to work with their faculty advisors and work through this. But these are things faculty are thinking about for all of their grad students, their postdocs, themselves, as well as the undergrads. So,
and I think it's important to understand that you're being impacted by this as well. Now, for people who don't know, Michael studies bubbles, among other things, which is great, but it might be an opportunity to figure out how you're approaching that research in a new way. And
exactly.
What I'm hearing is that there's a lot of adaptability.
A lot of flexibility, a lot of adaptability, yeah.
And that's an opportunity for students to come with ideas as well. And so it's one thing for the university to say, here's what we're bringing to the table to support, but there's a lot of opportunity for innovation and students to come up with ways to make this work.
Proposing things to your faculty, proposing things you can do remotely is a great thing. That creativity will go a long way.
Well, let's stay on this train with things that are hard to connect with technology. Talk to me about field studies, things like civic community engagement, volunteer work. I know there's thousands of hours that happen each month with volunteer work. There's even things such as programs like UCDC and going to Sacramento. Can you speak to that nature of how we're going to approach that?
Very much, and nobody's going to like the answer. It really depends on each one specifically. It's hard to give a general answer to this, and I think we understand that because it's a moving sort of space, what's closing, what's open. Just from a personal thing, my own daughter is a sophomore as an undergrad, and she's planning to be a teacher, and she's got to get hours in the classroom. Well, of course, K through 12s are closed. Hard to get hours in the classroom when they're closed, but her program is adjusting and dealing with that. So anything that's degree requirement related and all that, of course, the university is going to be adjusting, evaluating, making sure it all works. Anything that you're doing kind of for yourself, volunteer and stuff, that's going to be a case by case, follow what's happening in the news, follow the best practices. None of this is worth putting your health at risk just to get that extra little thing on your resume at this time.
Or others' health.
Or others' health at risk, definitely. Right, this is a time to focus on health, but it's also a time to understand that we're all being flexible and working together. Formal programs like Study Abroad, UCDC, UC Sacramento, they're following their guidelines and following what's happening for each program. So you just got to check in with each of those sort of separately to get a sense of what's going on.
Gotcha. So as a default, because things are changing, if you are working with Study Abroad, check with them on the details. Yeah. If you are doing community or civic engagement, check with those particular people and come up with maybe a creative workaround or a creative patient around.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so when it comes to regular classes, the mindset, I think, is a big part of this. And so even though we're going digital, it's really just looking at this like it's the regular experience, but just online, correct?
Yeah, and I like to use a key word here. There's a reason we've been using remote. Okay. Because online tends to trigger a particular type of course experience, which some of these will be like that. But it really is, like you said, this mindset that I'm going to expect some of the standard stuff from my course just delivered in a new remote modality. There may not even be a formal online course that you're accessing. Depending on the nature of your course and what your faculty member has to do, the remote piece may be predominantly the videos and the Zoom classes. Whereas when we think about a fully online course, you're in a course shell and there's a lot of bells and whistles and a lot of different technology you interact with. So students are going to experience that full spectrum from it's the course as normal but just now done through Zoom. Particularly for a small seminar discussion course, there might not be a lot of other stuff that happens online. All the way to we have courses that are fully online, have been developed that way, that students already signed up for as an online experience. That online experience will look very different than the remote experience, but they're all great ways to experience learning and to interact with the material.
And it all comes down to the responsibility of getting ready as a student to prepare for this new type of learning.
Yeah, for the student and the faculty. And one of the cool things is, here we are at UCI. We are a leader in online course development and delivery, particularly among the UCs and research universities. We are a leader in research into online teaching and technology. And we are leveraging all of that power as we gear up for the coming quarter. We've got 2 weeks is actually a long time. We were able to switch to remote exams in just 2 or 3 days. And for the most part, I know there was stress. I got a lot of emails from students, but we've come through that pretty well. And we had our first big 3,000 student exams on Sunday, and the chemistry students survived it, and it went well. And we're into Monday, and it's knock on wood, it's going well. We've got a lot longer on that scale to prepare for the spring quarter. And the other thing is the course doesn't have to be perfectly right and ready on day one. We've got 10 weeks. Think about when you normally experience a class. Do you do it all in the first day? No, you do it over 10 weeks, all on the last day. Do faculty have the whole course ready and every lecture done on day one? No. They are prepared, they have a general idea, but they deliver the course day by day, week by week. Same thing for remote. We don't need a full-on course day one when we hit the ground. So we have time to prepare, we have time to bring in the support we need. We have the research that tells us what our students need to be successful, and we're getting that research to the faculty. We have the faculty who have experience doing this, and they're sharing that with their colleagues. The faculty support has been incredible. They're working together on this, as I fully expected from UCI faculty. There's no surprise there. When you deal with the world's leading researchers, these are creative, intelligent people. Imagine all of that intellectual creativity and power now being applied to what we're going to do for our students. It's an amazing resource, and it's going to make for a very interesting, but very, very rewarding quarter, where there will be mistakes, yes. So you prepare for those and deal and move forward.
Well, as we look towards summer, typically this is the time when students start making their summer plans. So it could include summer school, could also include vacation, a number of other factors. What is your advice for people when it comes to looking at their normal behavior of approaching summer from a summer school standpoint?
Yeah, I think what they're going to learn very quickly and what you're going to realize is this remote is not that problematic for instruction. Summer for us is even better. Over 30% of our courses are already fully online in summer. Many of the courses, because of the experience with spring, will be ready for remote. So worst case scenario, if we're remote in summer, that's going to be straightforward. And for students, if they need a little extra catch up or if they need something to happen, knowing that summer is remote means you can kind of still take your vacation. You figured out the technology part, now you can do the remote course. So I think students should be looking at summer as an opportunity. I wouldn't worry about it too much right now. We've got more than enough on our plate for the next week or two. Get yourself settled, get the tech, get yourself healthy, be ready for spring quarter. But summer enrollment has started, and it stays open right up till summer. So in 2 or 3 weeks, you'll be more comfortable. You'll know what's going on. I would look at summer as a serious option for how this can help with your current situation. And as we know more, you'll get more updates. The students will get more updates about what summer will really look like. But I think they can assume a pretty normal summer. It might be remote, but we know how to do that now.
Okay. Now, my final question here is really just more about how this can fit into the overall goal of higher education, which is to prepare people for the future.
Right.
And there's no denying that what's happening now is going to change the path of how we look at leadership, we look at working, we look at work environments. So I see there being a lot of challenges, but within those challenges are opportunities. So getting students trained in this remote work environment where other people are being thrown into it in the working world, do you really see these challenges as an opportunity for students to really wholeheartedly own this remote process to then have those marketable skills that are for the future?
Oh, definitely. And I think it goes beyond just the students. I think it's for the faculty and the university as a whole. And for society, I think it's an amazing moment where we've recognized technology has greater power than we thought it did, that there really has been this sort of crossover point. And so it's very empowering. I think, on the other side, we're really becoming aware of some of the challenges. I'm going to be very blunt, we watched certain rumors spread through Reddit that actually weren't true, right? That caused more stress than needed to be caused. Not just, in our local environment. We've seen this on social media nationally. To figure out what was really happening with the coronavirus was hard because of the noise out there.
Right.
So that's an important skill too, right? And that's part of what we need, and we have been, and I think we will accelerate folding into the education process, is how do you navigate a world where information means there still really are facts out there, despite what some people say, but in the information overload, you have to figure out how to get them. But you also, look, we're able to keep so many things going during this crisis and challenge that without the remote technology, we couldn't. So as bad and as stressful as some of the impacts are going to be and have been, just think how much worse they would be if we didn't have our technology to keep a lot of this going remotely. And it's a moment in time, once we get out of the next couple of weeks or months, to really reflect on, okay, what have we learned and how do we really leverage this in a much more positive and stronger way? So skills for students, no doubt, but just in general, I think it's a moment for universities to take a real leadership in understanding where are we really with technology and how really can it best be used.
And the students are the ones that can help to determine that future.
Yeah.
I think this has been a great look behind the veil. The green curtain has come behind, and I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more of you. And the one thing that I'd like to share, which you touched on, is the conversation that's happening online. And as a student, you have a chance to participate in a positive way, or you can be one of those trolls. And I think that if we're all together positively looking for solutions, asking legitimate questions, but having patience, especially with the communications that are happening as they're happening. And I just want to commend you on your leadership for continuing to be in touch with students, being in front of the camera, and letting people know on a play-by-play, day-by-day what they can do to get the same caliber, if not a higher education than they would here at UCI. So any final closing comments, Mr. Wizard of OVPTL?
No, I think, Ryan, the number one thing, flexibility, patience, and know that this will work. We know what we're doing, and I have great faith in our students and our faculty. After all, we're anteaters. We're known to be the best. So all I can say is, zot, zot, zot.